Our next speaker is our Math Prize alumna, Victoria Xia. Victoria had an early start in math and doesn't remember much about her younger years, besides working through books with her dad on math. She competed in the first ever Math Prize for Girls in 2009, and again the next 4 years as well. She received an award each of those 5 years, including 2 first-place finishes and 1 second. Victoria also captained her high school's math team for 2 years, won 4 gold medals representing the United States at the China and European Girls Math Olympiads, and was in the running for a spot on the US International Math Olympiad team. She is now entering her 2nd year at MIT, where she studies electrical engineering and computer science, with minors in math and the brain and cognitive sciences. In her free time, she enjoys tennis, board games and card games, learning martial arts, and relaxing with friends. Free time? We are honored to have her here today. Please welcome Math Prize for Girls alumna, Victoria Xia.
Thank you, Jackie, for the wonderful introduction. I'm honored to be here. After I was invited to be alumna speaker, I was thinking about what I might want to say, and I decided instead to think about what I would have wanted to hear back when I was sitting where you all are sitting now. At first I thought, nothing, probably, because I would have wanted to skip to the part where they give out awards, because this is an awards ceremony, right? I promise I'll keep this short. But then as I kept thinking, I realized there was something I would have liked to know, something I've learned between then and now. What I've learned is to think hard and often about what's important to me, and I implore you all to do the same. I know it sounds a little bit silly. If I asked you right now, what's important to you? All of you could give me very reasonable answers. The thing is, it's not enough to be able to answer the question. You need to stand behind your answer. You need to be thoroughly convinced that your answer is accurate and that you've considered any reasonable alternatives. The past few years, I realized I was fooling myself on many occasions. And it was only through thinking hard about what's important to me that I was able to improve my life, and often the improvements were substantial. To give some examples, there were things I treated as important that turned out to not be important to me at all. More specifically, I've always been a perfectionist. When cutting out a photo, the edges had to be perfectly straight and the angles perfectly right, and there couldn't be the faintest sliver of white around the edges, or else I'd do it over again. For assignments, if I didn't get an A, I would be upset at myself, and my day would be ruined. But sometime in high school, when I first sat down and really thought about what was important to me, I realized the important thing about school is learning, for me at least. And how straight the cutouts on my poster are, or the letters I get at the top of my assignments, doesn't actually affect how much I learn. And so the logical result here was that I stopped caring so much about inconsequential details and letters of the alphabet, because really that's all they are. And suddenly, I started to realize that a lot of my class assignments, especially in high school, were time-consuming yet didn't contribute much to my learning. After I stopped dumping unnecessary time into these so-called busy work assignments, suddenly I had much more time to devote to things that I actually cared about, like learning. There were also things from my list of what was important to me that should have been added earlier. Back in high school, I thought I knew who I was. I liked math, I played tennis, I was shy. I thought that's how I was going to be for the rest of my life, and I was okay with that. But one day it struck me that there were a lot of things I simply haven't tried, either because I never got the opportunity to, or because I didn't want to. And so, probability tells me if I just try a lot of new things, chances are I'll like some of them. At the time, the main barrier was that I didn't like being bad at things. I didn't want to sing at karaoke or dance at dances or strike up conversation with strangers. But as time went on, I realized I like to learn things. Not just academic things, but skills too. It feels great to be able to say, I used to be too embarrassed to sing, But now I can go to karaoke, and no one's ears fall off. Or something more impressive than that, but you guys get what I mean. And so I've tried lots of new things, from talking to strangers, to rock climbing, to bending graduation requirements, to raising my hand in class and saying, I don't understand. And though I didn't like everything I tried, I'm glad I tried them all. And so I've tried to convey to you that sometimes there are things you treat as important, though they aren't, and sometimes there are things you might never have considered that turn out to be really important to you. And trying to identify these things early may help you better distribute your time and to become the person you want to be. Questions such as, which university should I go to? And why am I doing X if I don't find it fun? Can often be answered by the simple act of sitting down and asking, what is important to me? Now, I could have stood up here and told you about how important math is to the world, or how useful a solid math background will be for your future, or how you shouldn't be discouraged out of doing math by the current lack of women in the field. And all of these things, very true and very important. Might even have made more sense given that this is Math Prize for Girls, but for one, seeing as you're here, I imagine you already knew these things, so congratulations for that. And for two, I know that you will all go off to do amazing things. I hope that by encouraging you to think about what's important to you, I can help you achieve those great things sooner. And so in summary, don't do things because other people tell you to. Instead, think about what's important to you and base your actions off of that. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on getting this far, and I'm confident you'll all do great things. Don't worry too much.